maybe I said that shit to my boyfriend because he got Tupac killed.
So Diddy, if you're just joining us here, was just arrested and taken into federal custody in New York tonight. Sources tell TMZ Homeland Security swooped into a Midtown hotel late Monday where Diddy was staying, and they arrested him.
The first time you heard me say that Sean Combs was a sex trafficker, and you said I was a liar because I was jealous, because I wasn't his girlfriend, because I wasn't successful in the music industry, because I didn't have a hit record, because I didn't live in a mansion, because I didn't have diamonds. You said all of these things about me because I told the truth. You disgraced my name, my legacy, my family. You stalked, you hunted me. You harassed my friends. You put pressure on my personal relationships to the point where I had to completely disassociate myself from the whole life just so I could carry the burden of the truth. And I took that shit on the chin.
We're getting this in from TMZ. Alex Michelson there at Fox 11 in Los Angeles has it in this tweet here that Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested after being indicted by a grand jury in New York. That's according to the New York Times, also according to TMZ as well here. It's not immediately clear what charges he is facing. So this is quite significant here. I want to just show you some file footage of Diddy over the years. Now, TMZ has an update saying that a law enforcement source is telling them the arrest was scheduled for Tuesday, but something happened that caused the feds to move in a day earlier. So Diddy, if you're just joining us here, was just arrested and taken into federal custody in New York tonight. Sources tell TMZ Homeland Security swooped into a Midtown hotel late Monday where Diddy was staying, and they arrested him. Also, TMZ says we have unconfirmed reports the feds are searching his hotel room. They were told that Diddy was taken to the FBI field office in Manhattan. So you will remember that earlier this year, you remember these scenes over his homes in both Miami and there, as well in Beverly Hills, where those search warrants were issued and those searches of his properties were given, and they were executed there at his homes as part of these ongoing criminal investigations into alleged sex trafficking. Now, at the time, it was very unclear what the search warrants referred to there at the time. But according to TMZ, the arrest tonight is in connection with those searches. And you remember at the time that we were over this story for a very long time that day earlier this year. I'm trying to get an exact date from my producer to jog my memory. March the 25th. So March 25th, the same day, 2 of Diddy's residences were searched by federal law enforcement there in Beverly Hills and his home in Miami in connection to what we knew at the time was an alleged federal sex trafficking investigation. And you remember these scenes, his mansion there in the Holmby Hills and his mansion there in Miami. So this is breaking right now. We are working to get more details. We are working to get more people on the line to help us make sense of what exactly happened today. But all we know right now is that Diddy has been arrested in New York. The New York Times and TMZ both have it. I have it up here at the New York Times. They say this, I'm reading from their piece, that Sean Combs, the music mogul whose career has been upended by sexual assault lawsuits in a federal investigation, was arrested in Manhattan on Monday evening after a grand jury indicted him. Now, this is important. At the time, we brought on legal affairs journalist Megan Cuniff, who is based in Los Angeles, and she noted at the time, back in March, that it looked like these warrants were approved by judges in New York, which led Megan Cuniff to believe at the time that maybe the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York was the lead on these probes and these investigations into federal sex trafficking allegations here. Now, that was Megan Cuniff's supposition at the time. I think it has borne out now because Diddy was arrested by federal authorities in Manhattan. And from what I was told, from what I remember at the time, a judge in New York signed off on the search warrants for the searches of his properties in Los Angeles and in Miami. Now, if we get any more clarification on that, or if Megan Cuniff, who we might bring on, can correct me if I'm wrong here. But at the time, Megan Cuniff, we had asked her, would Diddy be held liable or would any legal action be taken against him personally in the immediate wake and aftermath of those raids on his mansions in California and Florida? Megan Cuniff at the time told us she didn't believe it would happen immediately, that the feds would present their case most likely to a grand jury, which we now know has been done there in Manhattan. So according to the New York Times, the indictment is sealed. The charges were not announced, so we don't know the charges. But they have a source that says the person familiar with the prosecution, they believe Combs is being charged with racketeering and sex trafficking here. So 7:30 here on the West Coast, 10:30 there on the East Coast. This is a breaking news story right now regarding the music mogul, the hip-hop legend, Sean Diddy Combs, being arrested by federal authorities today in Lower Manhattan.
All Jennifer Lopez had to do was marry a white boy, Oscar winner, for people to stop remembering that she had a gun in her pocketbook. She had gunshot residue on her hands the night that Natanya was shot at that club. For all we know, that bullet came from the gun that was in her hand. And not once has she spoken up for the betterment of that woman. Not once has she donated to her family or for her medical bills that she's still paying, or say something in her defense to stop Puffy from gaslighting her and trying to put hits out on her because he was afraid that maybe one day they would open the case and she still has the bullet fragments in her face. Like J-Lo has said, nothing. Nothing. You really thought that just running off and marrying Ben Affleck was going to take you out of the Diddy downfall? But it saved her the first time, though, didn't it? Because as soon as that club was over and as soon as they finished interrogating her, when she sat there and cried like a baby, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. Benny Medina put her with that drunk white boy until she ran him off. Like, there are people sitting here screaming out at the toll that the atrocities that Sean Combs has done to their lives, and you're trying to avoid your part in the story or the fact that you never spoke up. You know, you want to tell people on the low and put it out there that the movie was about you getting away from Puffy, but you didn't think about the trail of girls that you left behind. What happens to Cassie if J-Lo had said something to Diddler back then? Would Cassie have ever been a victim? Answer me that. Because that situation happened in the late 90s. That situation happened before Aaliyah passed away, and Aaliyah passed away in 2001. He didn't get with Cassie until 2009, 15 years after he was with Jennifer. And she had to come forward about the abuse that she suffered in a relationship with Sean Combs. Cassie would never have gone through what she's gone through. J-Lo being a stand bitch is Cassie not getting punted in a fucking hallway. The first time I ever saw JayZ or even heard him spit a rhyme was at an MC battle, street battle in New York. He showed up as the nigga that was with Big L. Yes. Big L was who put JayZ on. And then Big L died, and then the next thing you know, JayZ. Doing songs with Biggie and building a working camaraderie with Honey Combs. And then Biggie died, Tupac died. There was the The fight between who was the top rapper now, Nas and JayZ, and then the next thing you know, Nas has a nervous breakdown and he's taken out of the game, and it's all JayZ. He will slump anyone in any relationship for $1. Look at how he did Dame. If you're a halfway intelligent person, when do you start questioning how lucky some motherfuckers keep getting?
Right.
First things first, I'm gonna tell you where the whole shit is wrong. When it comes to talent, that is a God-given gift. It doesn't belong to us. It was given to us from Source. And guess what? It was given for free. Not one of us who are gifted on this planet have ever had to sign a contract with God for permission to use our gift.
Amen.
Ever. But you got to sign a whole lot of contracts with the devil.
Oh, shit. It's funny, you open up Beyonce's internet, it just gets weird.
Beyonce's internet.
That's what we're calling
that
it.
That belongs to the devil. Calling that the devil. She ain't nothing but an employee.
Oh.
Half a witch, dumbass bitch. Nobody want to accept that bitch bitch.
I think
she went and killed the girl Cats. A girl went to court and charged her with extreme witchcraft. She was hypnotized. She was drugged. Beyonce came and she was in there eating on her and shit while she was asleep. Snacking on his bitch. Killing people cats. They wouldn't give her a restraining order. They just told her to stay away from Beyonce and work for somebody else. Guess what? She's having a hard time finding work too. Which is interesting because she's a brilliant musician and she was trained at the esteemed Berklee College of Music. Handpicked by my very good friend, Terry Lynn Carrington, Dr. Terry Lynn Carrington, who put together Beyonce's entire female band, which was Matthew Knowles' idea because he couldn't get Beyonce to stop people. Guess you didn't know your daughter well enough because she just started all the girls. Impulse control issues? I don't know.
Who's next?
JayZ is setting Diddy up.
Why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
JayZ is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Yeah, shout out D. Haven. He actually hit us up, wanted to tell this story.
You need to talk to D. Haven.
We need to talk to him.
I told you that last year when I put you on the phone with him.
You did.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that.
You got a Diddy victim, you got a JayZ victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it.
Yeah.
I'm about to f up America.
Oh,
That's what's about to happen next.
here we go.
No more filter. From this point forward, any word that I say, I ain't holding back. And I ain't saying alleged either. Y'all said I was lying the first time. Now it turns out I'm telling the truth. You still don't want to admit that I was right, but you don't want to admit that you was wrong. So really, then the diplomacy doesn't matter. Fuck you. I'm going to just keep ruining your lives with the truth.
And here we go.
Detailed. What do you predict will happen next in the future? You know, it's like you see it what happens.
Kathy White's true killer is going to be unveiled. And it's not a man. And that woman died screaming.
Anything else?
Yeah. Show him the tape, Diddy. You got it.
Oh man,
That might buy you a little time. You should probably stop looking for plastic surgeons.
man.
Looking for a new life, new face. We're gonna hang you high, bitch. JayZ too. Beyonce too.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul. His attorney tells CNN that he is currently being processed. The charges are unclear as of this moment. Joining us now is CNN's entertainment reporter Elizabeth Wagmeister, and also with us CNN chief legal correspondent Ellie Honig. Elizabeth, you were a big part of revealing some details about Diddy's conduct in private over the course of the last couple of months. That video led to a lot more scrutiny on what he has been accused of. What do we know at this point about what this case might ultimately be about?
Abby, at the moment, we don't know what the charges are. I have information that he was arrested tonight at a Manhattan hotel. He is currently being processed. I heard from his attorney they are still maintaining his innocence. They said that in anticipation of these charges that Diddy relocated to New York last week. And here's a statement that I have from his attorney. He says, "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office." He goes on to say that he is an imperfect person, but is not criminal. Now, Abby, that video that you just spoke about was a few months ago when our team broke this disturbing video of Diddy violently assaulting his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, better known as the singer, her stage name, Cassie. Now, up until this point, when we broke this video, Diddy had denied the allegations against him. Cassie is one of 10 civil suits against Diddy, 9 of which he is accused directly of sexually assault. Up until that video, he denied everything. After that video came out, he changed his tone. He apologized for his conduct in that video. But I have to tell you, Abby, just as of last week, a former member of Danity Kane, which was one of the bands from Making the Band, Diddy's show that was on MTV, she sued him for sexual assault and other disturbing allegations, and he denied that. So he continues the denials, and he still maintains his innocence, even though he has been arrested tonight.
And Ellie, not a huge amount of information available tonight, but Elizabeth brought up something that I want you to give us a little bit of insight into. Diddy is here in New York, in Manhattan. He apparently came here in anticipation that something like this might happen. What should we understand about what that might mean? It could very well be that this is a federal arrest being processed here in New York.
So, Abby, there are some important things we do not know, including the specific charges that have been lodged against Sean Combs. But there are some really important things we do know. First of all, based on the attorney's statement, based on our reporting, this is a federal prosecution. It's not a state prosecution. The fact that he's being processed in Manhattan tells me that's the Southern District of New York. That's consistent with the reporting that the Southern District of New York had been handling this case. That's the office I used to work at. That's an office that sort of specializes in high stakes cases. Just in the last year or so, Southern District of New York, just as an example, has successfully prosecuted Sam Bankman-Fried, Senator Robert Menendez. The other thing that we do know is a grand jury has indicted Sean Combs, meaning they found probable cause that he committed at least one federal crime. Now, as to what happens next, there will be, likely tomorrow or within the next couple days, but usually in the SDNY, you try to do it the next day, there will be an arraignment, meaning Sean Combs will appear in court with his lawyers. There are no cameras in federal court. He will be advised of the charges against him, and he will almost certainly enter a not guilty plea. But the key thing to watch for is then we'll have the question of bail. Will prosecutors agree to let him out on bail? Will prosecutors ask the judge to lock him up pending trial? That could end up in a contentious argument. So these are things that are going to play out over the next 24 or 48 hours. And finally, Abby, with respect to the charges themselves, it's important to note, we've all seen that video, but assault and sexual assault are not federal crimes. Those are prosecuted in state court. So what I expect to see when we see this indictment is some sort of crime with some element of organization to it, sex trafficking, something along those lines, if it's based on some of the allegations we've heard.
And of course, back in March, his homes in LA and in Miami were raided. All of this leading up to this moment. Elizabeth and Ellie, a lot more to this story will be coming up in the coming days and weeks.
$50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times, just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right, because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm teling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Kid, I need no. You here, get your number.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yo, that man smacking JayZ ass like it belonged to him, family. Jano.
I was at a party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020. You know what I mean? Diddy had put everybody else out the crib, like the influx of people he had put him out. But he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there. Me and, you know, maybe about 15 others, you know.
Right.
JayZ and Beyonce being, you know, 2 of the other 15 people in the room. So that'll just put into perspective of the type of company I was in at the moment, you know.
On the streets, and then Papa Combs decided that he would like to be a caring man.
I adopted you like Madonna adopted kids, and everybody else adopted kids. Charlize Theron, everybody's ever adopted Sandra Bullock.
This isn't even the first time Madonna has been accused, or there has been calls for her to be investigated for child.
All these stories has been around the industry for a long time. All these industry people know that Diddy been acting like this and doing this.
When you come across adoption stories, it's often filled with joy and happiness. But when it came to Diddy's adoption of Ava Baroni, there was a much darker reception. The video of Sean Diddy Combs introducing his adopted daughter, Ava Baroni, resurfaced just a day after his 2 homes were raided for.
Breaking news, the Department of Homeland Security has just confirmed to CNN that federal law enforcement agents have raided properties owned by musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs.
In the clip from 2020 shared on TikTok, Diddy is seen during a live session on Instagram asking Baroni to introduce herself to his followers. "My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio," the teen began, but Diddy interrupted her asking for her last name. "Ava Combs Baroni," she replied.
Ava Baroni Combs, Yes, it's breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child.
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No.
The rap mogul, aged 54, then announced that he had adopted the white child. In the video, Baroni humorously shared that she was on the streets before Papa Combs decided that he was going to be a caring man.
I was on the streets, and then Papa Combs decided that he would like to be a caring man.
She continued, saying that he saw her, picked her up, and invited her to stay with his kids, emphasizing her close bond with Diddy's twin daughters, Jessie and Delilah. While Diddy admitted that Baroni's account of events was a little bit borderline suspect, he asserted that he adopted her similarly to Madonna, Charlize Theron, and Sandra Bullock adopting their children. He explained that he felt she would benefit from having a black parent to support and care for her, mentioning that he received permission from Baroni's mother before proceeding with the adoption.
I adopted you like Madonna adopted kids and everybody else adopted kids. Charlize Theron, everybody that's ever adopted Sandra Bullock.
At the time, we thought that Diddy was great to do this, right? Because there was a pandemic and children needed all the love they could get.
He didn't like Pac. It's something that happened between Pac and him that he didn't like it. So if my man or somebody that I'm working with is dealing with somebody I don't like, I'm gonna have a dislike for that relationship they have. I don't just think it's jealousy. I think it more was just a dislike and a hatred that somebody I'm working with is working with somebody that I don't like anymore or I got a problem with.
So you feel like it was intentional when Diddy was getting with, you know, the same woman that Tupac already had?
Yeah. I think that he purposely went after the girls that dealt with Pac.
Why you think he did that on purpose?
Because when you have an envy of someone, remember Puff tried to get that Juice movie and Juice, but they gave it to Pac.
Puffy, he been showing Tupac love on social media, man. Have you seen it? What you think about it?
Phony and bologna on a pickle sandwich. You want me to say it again? Huh? It's phonier than bologna on a pickle sandwich. Yes, he did idolize Tupac. We all knew that. We knew that about some of the speeches he said. He said the same that came out of Pac's mouth. But he didn't like him. If you ain't like that in his life, how you gonna love him in his death? Oh, you glad to see dead now. All right, okay. But he made it his business to sleep with every chick that Pac was sleeping with. Pac was the first one that came out with that yellow and black Versace shirt. What Puff go do? I want that same shirt right there.
So you feel like Puffy getting with some of the same females that Tupac got with, like Sally Richardson and Sarah Chapman. You think he only got with them because Tupac had them. That's the only reason why he got with them.
It probably was expired because they was fine, but it put a plus on it because Pac had them.
I hate when they leave me to talk because I always say the wrong thing. I always say the wrong thing. Last time they left me, I said something about Puffy. You saw that? You saw that clip? Yeah! I gotta stop doing that kind of shit. I've been talking to a therapist trying to help me with the shit I be saying. I say crazy shit out of my mouth for no reason. No fucking reason. Oh wait, maybe I said that shit about Puffy because he got Tupac killed. I thought it was for no reason, but I just thought of that. All the crazy shit that I see online, right?